let's get started. So today we're talking about understanding your analytics and tracking your conversions so that you can really get the most out of your social media. So we've got a lot to go through, so let's jump right in. So first, let's talk about why. If you guys have been to any of the other sessions, you know I love answering that question from the get-go. The first thing is to really see what content performs the best on your platforms, right? So there's some things that'll perform really well and other things that'll maybe be kind of a dud, and then things that'll kind of be in between. So being able to look at what performed well will help you to know what kind of content to create in the future. The second thing, just what I mentioned, is it'll influence your future content. So if you find that videos are performing really well, then you'll want to really invest heavily in videos, right? It'll also help you to know which platforms that are working for you. So if you are spending a lot of time on Instagram and you're not getting any traction there, I like to just kind of say after, a few, I would say at the minimum 6 months, right? Because you do have to start to build all of that. But if you're really putting in the work and you're not seeing any traction, no growth, nothing like that, it gives you an opportunity to kind of reassess and say, okay, is this where it's best for me to spend my time? And then the third is to really understand your audience. So it's really great and also kind of scary about all of these platforms is they give you a really in-depth view of who your audience is. So where they are in the world, their ages, even what kind of content they prefer. You can see who likes what. And so being able to review that helps you to know, okay, I, have a lot of, say, followers who are female, who are anywhere between the ages of 25 and 45. Okay, well, that's going to look really different, the kind of content I create, than if I had, followers who are 16 to 20, right? So being able to understand that is really helpful. A couple tricks that I like to do is I like to review them weekly. So it doesn't always mean recording them, but I do like to just kind of jump in and see, okay, what is tracking, what is working, what's not, what's getting the most likes. Most days when I go in to engage on platforms and respond to comments or shares, I can already kind of see that. But taking the time each week to just do a quick run through, even just 15 minutes across all the platforms is totally helps you figure out, okay, what's working, what's not. And then I also schedule time the first week of every month to record all my analytics and analyze them. And honestly, I set aside a good 1 to 2 hours for this, depending upon how many platforms I have to look at, right? So some of my clients, they just have LinkedIn or Twitter or something like that. And so that doesn't take as much time for me to really dive into it. But I make sure to set aside that at least an hour to go and look at that content. And then for some of my larger clients and for my own platform, I do at least 2 hours because I know that to really understand what's working, what's not, and to influence the future content I create, I'm going to need that time. And this is a link here that you'll get, don't worry, but I have a tracker system. It's really just an Excel file, but it has all the information in there about, how to organize it. And so you can really see your growth over time. We'll kind of get to see some examples later on. And then I'll also include some articles with even more detailed instructions on, how to access each platform's insights, because I'm not going to dive too much into that. So I want to focus on how you can use them, and then also even more into really what each piece means. So you'll be able to see that if you go to that back end, there's so much information. We won't have time to do it all, go into all of it today. But I do want to give you the resources for that. So I'll have a lot of articles for you in the follow-up email and at the end of this PowerPoint. So let's go to the first one. So Instagram. So my important note for you guys is to record these weekly. So I know I said for most of them monthly, but for Instagram, they've started to be a little bit better about giving you historical data, but for the most part, it's easier if you can just record it week to week so you don't miss anything. Sometimes it can be really hard to find information from even the week before or 2 weeks before that. And so being able to track it over time is really helpful. And that's literally for me, what I do is I just grab that data. I don't analyze it. I just put it in my tracker and then I analyze it at the end of the month with everything else, right? So that's kind of that tip there. First thing that we look at, we're going to talk about the top three things for each platform that we look at. And the first one for Instagram that I look at is impressions. So this is the number of times your post has been seen during the time frame selected, right? So I could look at the month, I could look at 7 days, I could look at 1 day, all that jazz. This is a 7-day I believe, 7-day graph of my Instagram. And so you can see that I have 416 impressions, right? And so that green arrow I really like. It means I had 206 more from the previous 7 days. So that clues me in to say, okay, something I've posted between June 11th and June 17th is really getting the reach and the impressions, like people are seeing it. So that could be, are people sharing my Instagram content that's maybe getting in front of other people? Is my hashtag strategy working even better? Is my engagement strategy where I'm going in and talking and interacting with other people, is that bringing them to want to be like, who is this person or this random account? Let me go see what they're about. And they come and they look at my content. So again, this isn't going to tell me the answer to all those questions, but it's going to help me to think through those so then I can go and find the answers, right? So looking at this was really helpful and helps me to see, okay, 416 people have seen this content in the last 7 days. What does that mean? Is that the number that I need or want to reach my goals? So these are the kind of questions you want to be asking. All right, the next one that I want to touch on is interactions. And so it's exactly what it sounds like. It's what actions have people been taking on your profile. So on Instagram, they can visit your website, which is that link that you have in your bio. They can just visit that profile. They can click that call button, text, email, or get directions. Now, I don't use any of those get directions, calls, emails, all those things. Those are not things I necessarily promote on my Instagram bio. So I'm not super concerned with them. But let's say you're a brick and mortar store, you know, when the world is back to normal and you're actually able to open and function, getting directions could be a really interesting and good interaction for people to have, right? Because it means they're looking up where you are, and hopefully that means they're coming to you. But for me, I focus a lot on website visits and the profile visits. And so for whatever reason, it's interesting to see, even though more people saw my post, they didn't visit my website or check out my profile as much as they have in the past. And so that to me is going to say, okay, is there something about my call to action in my post that's keeping people from wanting to click? Is there something in my bio that's keeping people from wanting to click that link? These again are questions I want to be asking and playing around with. And I may not know the exact answer, right? I might get through all of my analysis and be like, I have no idea why that's the case, but I'm going to tweak some things and see what works. So this is a really helpful tool to see, okay, what are people actually doing on my profile? And are they doing the things that I want them to do? All right, a third piece, and again, this is only 3 out of like 100 things you can look at, is the website click. So I kind of touched on this, but you can see I had 1 website click. For previous weeks, I've had, 7 or 8. And so I want to know, where did that dip come in? What happened there, right? Okay. So next we're going to talk about the investigation piece. So touch on this a little, but here's some of the things I did. So I changed my call to action in my bio. I thought, okay, well, it's not just these sheets. So, I was promoting these freebies and these like kind of checklists at one point. And so I said, okay, get your sheet, kind of a play on words, kind of fun, funky, right? And I said, you know what? That's no longer what that link is. It's actually a resource link. That's where I have a lot of resources. And when I promote that link, I'm really saying, hey, there's a video, there's an article, there's something there that is going to be a resource to you. And so I just switched that up. And so we'll see if that works. It may not. Who knows? It'll be fun. And then what I did is I reviewed my top performing posts via the Instagram app and the insights there. And so some of the observations I made is that my highest engaging posts were actually the ones that were photos of me. So I do a little bit of a combo of pictures of me, some stock images, and some little quote cards, right? So part of that is I just don't have the library of images right now to go through and post all of that stuff, and it doesn't add enough of variety for what I'm looking for. And so that's why I mix those up. But I'm seeing when people actually see my face, when they see a real person that they can connect with, they engage with it more. And so that tells me, okay, I want to invest in taking good pictures of me where I'm feeling confident that I want to post them, that they cover a lot of the different types of posts that I want, and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to influence the kind of visual content I create. I also saw that my highest website clicks were on the post where I talked about the playlist that I have for Monday Morning Fix, which also if you are a subscriber, ask me if you want me to bring that back. for whatever reason, that one got the most engagement. And so it could have been that it was one of my newest posts. And so a lot of people were just starting to follow me. And a lot of my friends were just liking my posts. Or it could be that people really enjoyed the tone and what I was sharing, right? And then my farthest reaching post was the one where I talked about coaching and some insecurities I felt, right? And so people were liking that, people were engaging with it. And so it got to reach the farthest amount of people, which I thought was interesting. So those kinds of things can help influence what I'm going to create for these upcoming posts, right? And so in here is a link. We won't go through it, but it's a really short video on how I show you how I get to those insights. You'll get access to it, but I don't want to take too much time. I want to get through all of these. All right, up next, we're going to talk about Facebook analytics. And so we're going to look first at the total likes. So exactly what it sounds like, the number of people who have liked your page. So the first image that I'm going to look at is just the total likes as of today. So right now my Facebook page has 171 likes, which is pretty good. And I see that for the most part, it's very slowly increasing, right? And then there's this kind of big uptick right here. So what I need to do is go back and see, okay, what happened on like the 14th that really boosted that like, right? It's not a major as in numbers, but it's enough that I could see that difference. And so how can I continue to do that? What was I doing that was increasing that? And how can I replicate it? The next one I want to look at is the page likes, and this is going to compare unlikes, likes, paid, organic, all of those kinds of things. And so these are all my organic likes. I haven't done any Facebook ads, so there shouldn't be any paid likes. But I did have one unlike. And so that's something that I might be like, all right, well, let me see what that is. I wonder what that was about. I don't get too crazy about it, especially if it's just one. Don't worry, people unlike things. It happens all the time. But looking at each of these days when there's those spikes, and especially this time where there was no activity, I need to look and see, okay, what was going on there, and why might that be the case? And then the third piece is where your page likes happened. And so this is telling you what is it that's getting people to like your page, right? So for me, I know that I invited my entire friends list, right? And so I'm still getting people who are responding to those invites and liking my page. And so that's where I believe these upticks happen. Things like page suggestion search, so people are searching for me. If people maybe find my content and choose to like me, all of that kind of stuff. This is really helpful because it shows me, okay, what's working best. So that also is going to tell me what kind of content am I creating that's not inspiring people to like my page, right? So what can I do to say to people, hey, this is worth clicking that like button, right? So those are some of those questions that you want to be asking. The next piece is reach. And so just like on Instagram, this is the number of people who have seen any of your posts at least once. And so again, I want to look and see, okay, where are these major upticks? A lot of them, I believe, are when I post new content, right? So if I posted new content, I'm going to get a lot more engagement and reach there as opposed to the next day when there's not new content, right? So going through here, seeing kind of what it looks like. Ideally, I'd have a much steadier graph line, right? But this can be really helpful to see, okay, what is getting the most reach? What content is getting the farthest? And how can I replicate that? Next, we have the reactions. So these are just like, love, and so a lot of people are liking my content, and a few people are loving it. So that's good. That's all positive. You know, there's no one angry, there's no one indifferent or whatever. There's some engagement. So that is just helpful in knowing, okay, is there content that I can create that can get that love reaction, right? So that can just be really helpful as well. And then lastly, it's looking at all of the interactions. So reactions, whether it's they like it, they love it, they're sad, they're angry, whatever, comments, shares, and other. And so we see I get a lot of reactions, but I don't get quite as many likes or as quite as many comments, and I really don't get that many shares, right? So I really want to boost the comments and the shares because that's what tells Facebook, hey, this content's interesting, promote it to other people, you know, put it on people's news pages or news feeds, and all that stuff makes the algorithm happy. I'm like, okay, so what can I start doing and posting that'll get people to want to comment and want to share? All right, next, we're going to fly through this next one. This one, action taken on your page, exactly what it sounds like. So are people asking for directions? Are they clicking on your website? Are they calling your phone number? Are they taking any other kind of action button click? For me, it's a big fat no, right? That was literally the face I made. I was like, what's going on? And so for me, that tells me if people are interacting with my content, it's likely that they're stopping at the post and not going to the page. And so I want to think through, okay, does that matter? You know, for me, sometimes I'm like, well, I'm promoting things and it's taking them off of Facebook. That's totally fine. Like maybe that's what I want. But if you really have content or something on your page that you're trying to drive people to, then this can be really helpful. It also shows me, you know, if people are searching and they find my page, they're probably going to take some kind of action, right? And so this is telling me that not a lot of people are searching and finding my page, but they're finding me through my post. So that's something I want to kind of think on, think about how important is it for me to kind of tweak my strategy and content to boost those numbers. All right, up next we have LinkedIn. And so LinkedIn has a lot of crazy fun insights, and they can get really confusing, but we're just going to focus on a few. So the visitor highlights. So it shows how many people have viewed your pages and the difference between total and the unique or just the new visitors. I love those green numbers. They would make me super happy. And those are always in comparison to the previous time period. So a 14% increase from the last 30 days. So I have 24 new page views and 12 of them, so half of them are unique or new. So I'm like, all right, that's kind of cool. But again, we can see these big spikes. So basically, anytime I see these spikes in the graph, I want to go look and see what the deal is. Why are those spikes there? What was I doing on that day? And can I replicate it or can I improve it, right? So that's just really quick, easy, see who's visiting your page. The next one are the update highlights. So these are really great to see what posts have the best response. It's kind of like interactions. So as you can see, I have no comments. I would love to get more comments, right? But I do have 12 interactions. And so that's interesting. I can look and see that. And I have 4 shares. And to be perfectly honest, these 4 shares are probably my mother. So thank you for sharing that content. And so while I love that she's sharing it and I want her to continue to do that, I would also love to see other people sharing it. So what can I create that's going to incite people to want to share and comment? And then this drop down menu, you can see and go through impressions, clicks, reactions. You can get a specific chart for all of that, which can be really helpful. All right, next we have followers. And this is just going to tell you how many followers you have and how many new ones you have. Exactly how I'm feeling. I don't have any new ones, but I have 9 total followers. And again, this is for my business page. It's not for my personal page. I actually have a surprising number, to me, surprising number of followers on my personal page. And so don't get discouraged if you don't have a lot on your business page. It might mean that people are more interested in following you as a person, right, than your business necessarily. So think about how those 2 profiles can work together and how the purpose of your LinkedIn page can help support your business. So that's really helpful and important. Okay. Next, we're going to go into Twitter analytics. These are pretty simple. I don't get too crazy with them. And so I really more so just ask these different questions. So I say, are my tweets being read? What do people do when they see my tweets? And is my audience growing? And so I can see all of that based on these insights, right? So I can see, okay, I tweeted 45 times, which is pretty good. I had 2,600 approximately impressions, so people saw it that many times. 13 profile visits, so that means people are saying, oh, okay, whatever you're saying is interesting enough. I want to click and see who you are. 2 mentions and then 2 new followers. So for me, that's good. That's exciting. Twitter is not my current focus for my business. And so for me, these are pretty good stats, right? Because I am seeing some growth and it's going at a good and steady pace. And so again, to answer these questions, I look at that follower count, total impressions, the profile visits, and I look at my top tweets. Okay, what had the biggest impact? What do people care about the most? And so you can just kind of look at all of that there and see how that's going to impact your upcoming tweets. That one's real quick, real simple. Pinterest. Ooh, Pinterest is super fun. So I had fun looking at these. This graph will look almost the same on most of these slides, but just look at that left-hand side. So impressions, the number of times your pins were seen. See kind of this pattern we have here? So we had 638 impressions, so that's an increase. And so for me, that's exciting, right? So I'm seeing an increase, and that just means I think, you know, if I can really put more time and energy into developing my Pinterest page, I'm gonna get some results. People are engaging with it, people are seeing it. So that's really fun and exciting. And with that, I can see, okay, what's getting the most impressions? And thankfully, it's one of mine, because I also pin, you know, content from other people, all that fun stuff. And so my optimized Facebook page and Instagram and all that stuff, that mini session and the corresponding blog post had the most impressions. So to me, that means that people must be sharing it. They're looking for that content. However, I have hashtagged and created that particular pin, people are seeing it, finding it, and hopefully engaging with it, right? So that's really helpful. Next is the engagement. And so we can see engaged audience is about 14 and total engagement there is 18. So again, some growth, and considering I haven't spent as much time to really develop this Pinterest page, it's been really, really great. So that's helpful. Oh, thanks, Mom. I'm glad now the insights. It's not you, it's someone else. So again, interesting, the 5 things you can do to build your business during quarantine. That's what this one is about. And so we can see that there's a 10% engagement rate, right? So all of these things are really helpful, and it's all organic, you know? So these numbers would be drastically different if I was paying to push out this content. So that's really exciting for me. All right, and then the last one we'll look at is how many people clicked on the link. So link clicks, pretty low. I think it's like 1 or 2 total, which is not bad. But it's saying, okay, someone looked at this and then they saw it and were interested enough to go in and find it, right? And look at the blog, hopefully read it, maybe even watch the mini session. So this can be really helpful for me to see, okay, which posts are getting that click through, right? So my top one was that 5 things you can do during quarantine. 2 people clicked on it, not terrible. And again, this is all within a particular range, right? Not necessarily the lifetime. So this has been really helpful for me to know, okay, these are the things people care about. This is what's trending. This is what we want to talk about. Okay. So here are the helpful articles, because I know we've got about 6 minutes to chat through the rest of this, so I want to give you some time, but I'm going to include all of these articles in the follow-up email, and you can access this full PowerPoint, which you'll be able to click through all of these. So if you want to dive deeper into every part of the analytics for each platform, they're all here. And then I also included articles on how to access the insights for each platform. So when we were looking at Instagram at the beginning, that was from the Creator Studio, but you can also access Instagram on your app, and that's really helpful as well. So now I want to open up everything for Q&A. Feel free to drop your questions in that chat box or in the Q&A file or in the Q&A box, and I will answer as many as I can between now and 5 o'clock. And let me know if there's some questions. I know. Okay, awesome, Phyllis. So we did get to answer that question. Any questions about insights? I know it's a lot of information to take in. It can be overwhelming, but it can be really helpful as well. Some tips that I like to do, like I said, is take some time during the first week of every month. And so the reason I do the first week of every month is because then I can look at the entirety of the month before, right? So for the first week of June, I looked at all the content from May and pulled all the insights for my clients and for myself for May, and was able to see from the very beginning to the very end of that month what was happening, what was performing well, what wasn't, all that fun stuff. So that's just a tip from me to you. If we don't, oh, perfect. Pinterest question. How many pins of others should you share? How many new pins should you create each day? Logan, that's a great question. And I kind of do a little bit, an equal amount of both, right? So I like to populate my Pinterest boards with a mix, you know, maybe 70, No, it's more like 50-50 probably is what I actually do, because it's a lot to create that content, right? And I just go in and I pin, because ultimately people might find my pin at someone else's article and they'll see my profile with it, right? So that can be really helpful to help people find other information. And then it also helps when I share my pins to push it out to others. So definitely a combo. It increases your engagement as well and helps you to find resources. I also use it for some inspiration, right? For a lot of my clients, I'll do little secret boards of inspiration, like mood boards basically, for websites or for their Instagram aesthetics, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I kind of mix it up and just see kind of what feels right. I know that's not as helpful, but every blog I write, and so every video, I'm working on getting all of those uploaded to my Pinterest. I think that will definitely increase my engagement and all of that. And I will say with Pinterest, you want to make sure that you're spending a good amount of time on the visuals and taking care of all of that, because it is a visual platform. Great question. Any other questions? Got a couple minutes. If not, no worries. Cool. All right, well, if you do, another question, Instagram. Some people do follow, unfollow to get traffic. Do you recommend this? That's a great question. So looking at, some people do a follow and then unfollow to get more traffic. Do you recommend this? I don't necessarily recommend that. I think it's better to be as organic as possible with your engagement. So if you're following people and then you find that they're not actually content that you want to follow, I'd say go ahead and unfollow them, but making sure that you're following people that actually connect and make sense for your brand and your business, I think is the best way to do it. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it, but other people, if they find it works, you could always test it out. Great question. Awesome. Okay, well, if you have any other questions, you guys are more than welcome to shoot me an email. And then, oh, great, Deneen had a question. Oh, good question. Do you have a business account or a personal account on Pinterest? So I use a business account, and that'll give you, for all of these platforms, that's what gives you access to the analytics. And so if you don't have a business account, make sure you get one, and then you'll be able to use the insights. It's a great point. Awesome. Okay, so up next, like I said, you'll get a recording with the PowerPoint and template in an email from me, including all those links. You don't have to go back through all this. And then I would love to hear feedback from you. So if you've seen the updated schedule, that's just kind of based on some feedback I got from others, and then just kind of what I think people have been asking and would be interested in knowing more about. And then next week's going to be all about creating content that converts. So we can see now, we understand now how to see whether or not it converts. We're going to talk about how you can create content that does. And if you would like to leave a review for any of these sessions, please send me an email. And in the follow-up email, there'll be a form you can fill out as well. I would love to share your thoughts about these sessions with others, and also promote you, link to your business, share your insights on what you think of this. So if you find these helpful at all, I would love to be able to hear from you on that.